Good morning and welcome to Korea Today, live from Seoul.
After facing an 18-hour-long questioning by prosecutors, former President Chun Doo-hwan's son reportedly says the family will pay some of the remaining $150 million in fines that it owes to the state.
He calls it basketball diplomacy, but the rest of the world is slightly confused. Dennis Rodman is back in Pyongyang. More coming up in the headlines.
And how does the fourth quarter look for the global economy? We have early forecasts on In Print. And is Korea better known for its traditions or its modernity? Global experts weigh in. More coming up.
Autumn is the perfect time to head into the wild outdoors with your family. With camping growing in popularity, we have some camping and survival gear that'll grab your attention. A city where the fun never ends, Seoul brings you festivals of all kinds year-round. Catch the last leg of summer under the skies, camping out in the open right in the heart of Seoul on Wednesday, September 4th, 2013.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for joining us. And today, President Park Geun-hye embarks on a trip to St. Petersburg, Russia for the G20 summit, which will be her third trip overseas and her debut in multilateral summit diplomacy since assuming office.
She'll give her lead speech there and hold several bilateral and multilateral talks with the foreign leaders there. And among them, she is expected to meet with German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who is the first president that she called after winning her presidency back in December of last year. And after all of that, she will move on to Vietnam for a state visit. So a lot on her plate this time around as well.
A busy agenda also. For more on that, we have your headlines with Na Hyun-kyung.
Former president and military dictator Chun Doo-hwan's second eldest son, Chun Jae-yong, stepped out of the prosecutor's office just a few hours ago after being grilled for some 18 hours. Insiders say Chun Jae-yong has told the prosecution he will help pay the rest of what his father owes the state.
I once again offer my apology. I'm really sorry.
미납 추징금 자진납부 의사는 밝히셨나요?
I've given out all the details during the questioning session.
Now, the former dictator's second eldest son is accused of helping the Chun family create illegal slush funds by evading tens of millions of dollars of taxes. Prosecutors are reportedly planning to summon the former dictator's other sons, also suspected of concealing the former president's assets. Chun Doo-hwan, who served as the country's leader for almost a decade in the 80s, was sentenced in 1997 to pay about $220 million in fines for staging a coup and accepting bribes. His family has yet to pay more than $150 million back to the state. The controversy surrounding leftist opposition lawmaker Lee Seok-gi continues. At the National Assembly's Defense Committee meeting Tuesday, ruling party lawmakers raised questions about why Lee, who's not even a member of the committee, had requested the Defense Ministry to provide classified military information. Defense Minister Kim Kwon-jin says out of the 30 times he made a request, 27 times were answered with the necessary information. However, the minister made clear that classified information, such as the details of Seoul-Washington joint military drills, were not handed over to Lee. Lee's Unified Progressive Party says he was simply fulfilling his duty as a lawmaker, adding his requests were not aimed at obtaining classified military information. The National Intelligence Service is currently seeking an arrest warrant for Lee on accusations he tried to plot a rebellion. Lawmakers are expected to vote today on whether to strip Lee of his parliamentary immunity from arrest. The bad boy is back in North Korea. Former NBA player Dennis Rodman arrived in Pyongyang on Tuesday, catching a lot of people off guard, especially since it comes shortly after Pyongyang canceled U.S. envoy Robert King's visit to the country. Rodman says he's not there to discuss the release of the American detainee Kenneth Bae.
My main plan is basically to come over here to not to be a diplomat, to be a friend of the marshal and of the country of North Korea. And just to show people around the world that, you know what, that we as Americans can actually get along with North Korea.
Now, this is a step back from what Rodman told the media a week earlier when he said he would definitely ask for the Korean-American prisoners' release. The trip is the former basketball player's second to North Korea since March this year. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, who's known to be a fan of Rodman, was spotted laughing, hugging, and drinking with the former NBA star back then. Experts say although Rodman insists this 5-day trip is strictly for meeting Kim and sharing sports interest, it will leave the Washington-Pyongyang diplomatic channels at odds if Bae is released after Rodman returns. And as mentioned earlier, President Park Geun-hye will kick off her 8-day trip to Russia and Vietnam today. She will make her debut on the stage of multilateral diplomacy during the 2-day G20 summit in St. Petersburg, Russia. The president is expected to discuss pressing global economic issues with other world leaders and share her administration's plans and system of achieving a 70% employment rate through building a creative economy. President Park is also scheduled to hold bilateral talks on the sidelines of the summit. A one-on-one with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is highly unlikely to happen at this point, but attention still lies on the two leaders as the president has not met Abe since taking office. After wrapping up her stay in Russia, President Park will make a state visit to Vietnam, where she will push ahead with free trade deal talks and increasing cooperation in nuclear power plant projects.
Good morning. The curious case of UPP lawmaker Lee Seok-gi and his underground group, the Revolutionary Organization, continues to grip the headlines. We'll launch today's In Print with a look at 조선일보. Let's go ahead and take a look at its headline. It reads, Lee Seok-gi's RO suspected of contacting North Korea through person in the U.S. As investigators continue to piece together the identity of the so-called Revolutionary Organization, 조선일보 reports that the group worked with sources in the United States as well as in China. It cites unnamed NIS sources as saying that they found a trail of emails and phone records between members of the group and a person residing in the U.S. who they believe served as the middleman between the RO and North Korea. As for the source in China, investigators believe the businessman is a spy for Pyongyang. They also found that RO members used some 30 to 40 Gmail accounts to make contact with their overseas sources. As for RO's training materials, the Daily says that they were made in North Korea, and NIS officials are now working on piecing together the supply route of those sources. Now, scooting over to our next newspaper, let's take a look at 동아일보. It also has a story related to the RO. Headline reads, "No way to stop pro-North Korean groups, even if they run wild." And the lead goes on to say that 5 of the 25 groups named as North Korean sympathizing groups by the Supreme Court are still actively continuing their work under the same name. This is possible because there are no clear laws that can forcibly break up those groups. And the newspaper goes on to say that this could be the case for the newly discovered Revolutionary Organization as well, pointing out the opinion that appropriate revisions need to be made. Meanwhile, taking a look at the front page image, it shows a group of spectators cheering on a runner in Bergen County, New Jersey in the United States. A closer look, though, will tip off that this was a long-distance run with a different purpose. The title reads, "Apologize Japan, First Marathon in U.S. Giving Tribute to Japan's Military Sex Slaves." And the caption goes on to explain that the event was held on Monday with some 150 participating, those of Korean descent, of course, but also those of Jewish and Korean or Filipino descent as well. You can see the t-shirt that reads, "No war, no sexual slavery," as the runner makes it to the finish line. All right, and we're scooting right over to Gyeongyang Shinmun now. Its main headline reads, "Old progressives kill progressives. Sweep for public security revived, and it chose to run what it calls a news analysis piece as its front page story, noting that the events unfolding today involving the nation's spy agency and the left-leaning Unified Progressive Party makes it feel like the country is back in the 1980s. It notes that people of all walks of life are shocked by the details recorded in that 87-page report submitted to the National Assembly on Monday for the detainment of Lee Seok-gi, as some are reacting by saying that if these allegations are true, the UPP is not a progressive party but a terrorist group, creating a warlike ambiance for many. Taking a look at 중앙일보 now, it treats another story altogether as its top. The big headline reads, "Tax law that brings honor society to tears." And the picture shows the handprints of members of that honor society, millionaires who made financial donations at the community chest of Korea. The caption and subheadline underneath it expresses concern that the revised tax code could discourage future donors, as they will now have to pay some 9 to 23% in taxes on their charity if that revision goes through. And on that note, let's take a look at Korea Economic Daily's headline today. It reads, China's fourth quarter to see revival of 8% growth. And this is a projection made by the OECD on Tuesday. And in that report, it also said the G7 countries, including the US, Japan, and Britain, showed a pickup on the speed of their economic recoveries. And the Eurozone in general looks to have exited the economic slump as well. The chart included shows that the U.S. economy looks to see a bounce back as well in the fourth quarter of some 0.2 percentage point. It did add a warning, though, that emerging economies with current account deficits have been affected by the tapering of the U.S. Fed Reserve stimulus program, and thus low growth in these countries may create a setback in the overall global economic recovery. With that, we'll wrap your look at what's in print on this Wednesday. Next up are your closing numbers from Tuesday's Market Action.
Today, September 4th, is Taekwondo Day, designated by the World Taekwondo Federation back in 2006 to raise the stature of Taekwondo, Korea's most well-known martial arts. And joining us for this story is Kim Chan-ju's 차렷 경례.
경례.
Right?
Good morning.
All right, you got the
morning.
move.
Well, I tried my best for the Taekwondo moves, but not quite there yet. But I think since Korea originated Taekwondo, I think many people would think that certainly Korea will have the largest population of Taekwondo practitioners, but surprisingly, it is the United States. In the US, Taekwondo is so popular that 180 elementary schools nationwide decided to take Taekwondo as their part of the curriculum, which is amazing. So not long ago, the National Collegiate Taekwondo Association from the US came to Korea to learn more about Taekwondo in the motherland. So let's take a look.
At a university in North Jeolla province, you hear the roaring commands of Taekwondo training. This is a special session because joining in are 20 members of the U.S. National Collegiate Taekwondo team. They are here in Korea for a summer training camp.
First of all, we're visiting motherland of Taekwondo, Korea. So we would like to learn advanced technique of Korean practitioners. The second thing is, since this is the motherland of Taekwondo, we would like to learn the spirit and the culture and cutting-edge techniques.
I wanted to learn how to use my front leg cut kick a little bit better.
Focusing on Korean's footwork. It's a lot, more efficient here in Korea than America.
자, 기운 발차기. 자, 슬로우. 3개. 스피드 3개. 6개 알았지?
In the US, Taekwondo is a very popular sport, and there are more than 30,000 Taekwondo studios across the country. So these athletes are all very excited to be in the country where Taekwondo originated from and seem more focused and passionate in training.
The Korean players, for me, they're the best in the world. And every time we come here, they have so much heart, and they're so intelligent, and we learn a lot from them, and that's why we came here.
The team is only here for a week, but is eager to travel around the country and learn as much as possible about Korea's martial arts. The Taekwondo원, scheduled to open next March, has opened its doors to the U.S. National Collegiate team for a sneak peek inside. The Taekwondo원 is a global hub for Taekwondo education, training and research, built to share the spirit and culture of the sport. The eager athletes are excited to learn special techniques in the motherland of Taekwondo, as well as Korean history and culture.
For the international Taekwondo match, 400, 500 Taekwondo players coming to Taekwondo arena.
The eager athletes are excited to learn special techniques in the motherland of Taekwondo, as well as Korean history and culture. Here, even familiar floor mats feel special to the athletes due to their affection and devotion for Taekwondo.
I love how specific this one is to Taekwondo. I mean, everything seems built right for Taekwondo, which is something we've never had before. So I can definitely tell that it's different. And like I said, it's amazing.
This one here, I think, is really good. I'm happy to see that not just the arena, but also separate room for warm up and staging and everything. So it's really nice.
Starting in Seoul, they will visit the Gyeonggi and Chungcheong provinces. Today is a day the athletes have been looking forward to. They're having a friendly match against the Korean National Collegiate Taekwondo team. With the US having the most Taekwondo practitioners around the world and Korea being the birthplace of the sport, tensions are high between the proud national teams.
I didn't take them seriously in the beginning, but they are very skilled and should not be underestimated. Technique-wise, they're not the strongest, but I can feel their power.
Being here in Korea, a little bit more intimidating than against American players. My senses were heightened, so I was a lot more aware here just because of the atmosphere.
US athletes brought here to Korea their passion for Taekwondo. There is much anticipation for future competitions these athletes will compete in on the global stage.
I feel wonderful coming out here and training a few days at the top universities and coming out here and being able to compete with their collegiate team. It's one of a kind of experience, and I'm going to take so much away from this and hopefully the stepping stones to get the Olympics.
This trip is being more successful than we expected. Okay, I think the players are learning a lot, and I have seen them every single day improving a little bit and learning something.
So many dedicated athletes wanting to know the root of the art. Now, you can actually say that Taekwondo was popular even before perhaps kimchi.
That's exactly correct. I think Taekwondo is probably the original pioneer of Korean wave, even before the K-pop and K-drama and things like that. And when you visit all those training facilities around the world, you can see Taekwondo trainees saluting Korean flag and also practicing commands in Korean languages and also, I guess counting in Korean.
Right, they always say 하나, 둘,
exactly.
셋. Right.
So there are about 80 million Taekwondo practitioners around the world in 204 countries, and it is so popular. The reason why is not because it's a physically demanding workout, but because it has very clear, graspable system, and also the kicks and the fast footwork.
Very flamboyant
exactly.
kicks, action-packed.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's what the athletes are trying to focus most during their stay in Korea. And since the 1960s, the Taekwondo really flourished in the US, but it is also very much popular in other countries like the United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia.
Always gives me goosebumps when I hear them say those words in Korean, those commands, right? Tell us about some of the upcoming international events, some matches coming up.
Well, in celebration of Taekwondo Day today, the 4 key Taekwondo associations in Korea will have their events, and also coming up on October 30th, there will be the Asian University Taekwondo Championship, so something to look forward to for those Taekwondo fans out there.
All right, sounds great, Chanju. Since it is Taekwondo Day, maybe you could learn a few Taekwondo moves later on during the day.
I would love to, some self-defense training.
All right, thank you,
again.
Chanju.
Thank you.
We'll now go over to our Dami, who I'm sure can do some amazing
Should we ask her
kicks,
to show
right?
us a
But
kick
she
or
is
something?
joining us with a look at the weather reports. She is joining us from Central District of Seoul. Good morning, Dami.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Today I'm reporting live from Chunggu, Seoul. Right now on this Wednesday morning, we're starting out with bright blue and very clear skies. As a matter of fact, there's not a single cloud in the atmosphere right now. Also, there are some strong winds blowing here and there. As for the temperatures, it is a tad bit cooler than yesterday at 16 degrees Celsius. We will be seeing mostly clear conditions throughout the day as we are under the influence of a high pressure system. However, over in Gangwon province, there will be mostly cloudy skies and chances of showers, so make sure to carry your umbrellas. Also, down south in Jeju Island in the southern seas, there are storm advisories that have been issued. There will be very high tides and strong winds, so do keep that in mind. Now, as for our mercury levels throughout the day, there is still quite a large gap, so please take care of your health in these conditions. Let's now take a look at the weather around the nation. Here in Seoul and Daejeon, highs will leap up to 28 degrees. Daegu will be a degree warmer at 29. Gangneung will only reach up to 23, as Busan and Jeju will reach up to 27 degrees. Now tomorrow, most of the central regions can expect cloudy skies during the day, but we will see clear conditions. That's all I have for the weather. I'll be back in the latter half.
Still ahead on Korea Today, it's not just about pitching a tent and roughing it. If you're thinking of heading out to go camping, you may be interested in the latest camping gear and goods. We show you some of the most innovative products with some things you never imagined you would need.
Now, national branding helps to better promote a country's image and has become a crucial factor in letting the world know what countries can offer to the global community. So how should Korea be promoted to the world? Our Connie Lee joins me this morning, perhaps with an answer. Good morning, Connie. So you were at this year's Culture Communication Forum.
Yes, I was. And so I was at this year's forum, which came to an end yesterday. And experts from all around the world talked about converging the old Korea and the new. And many of them actually pointed to Korea as a leading example of a country that embraces both traditional elements and the modern, especially in today's rapidly changing society. Let's take a closer look.
Korea, the land of the morning calm, with nearly 50 million people in the south, is the most commonly known to the world for its cell phones, its impressive conglomerates, or K-pop. Or with its 5,000 years of history, does the world see the nation for its ancient royal narrative and hearty cuisines, or is it more widely known for its threatening neighbor to the north? In any case, Korea is apparently known for both the traditional cultural elements and a modern.
In a survey we conducted, we asked people what they thought of Korea. Both foreigners and locals alike answered that Korea is a country that's a blend of modern and traditional elements. So I thought that this would be a good topic for this year's forum.
The Culture Communication Forum, hosted by the Korea Image and Communication Institute, kicked off this week with cultural experts from all over the globe who came together to discuss how the convergence of both traditions and modernity can formulate a lasting image of Korea to the world. This year's three-day forum, in its fourth year, invited 16 experts in fields such as food, literature, music, and art. But before Tuesday's discussion got underway, the invited experts got a tour of the nation to experience both old and new Korea. From visiting royal palaces to checking out royal cuisine, the guests got a taste of Korean history, along with a bit of omija tea, or Korea's traditional drink of fruit herbs.
Very nice, very tasty. It was very interesting to see that how the Koreans are protecting their traditions.
But they didn't just get an introduction into the traditional side of Korea. The guests also took a trip to modern Korea by visiting one of the most innovative companies in the nation. At Hyundai main offices in Seoul, the cultural experts got a glimpse of a creative corporate atmosphere that embraces science and culture. Take, for instance, this art piece made of charcoal. It not only adds depth to the lobby decor, it also freshens the air.
But it's interesting how holistic their approach is, how it's a 360 approach. You know, there was music, there was culture, there was design, books, reading, that they saw themselves, rather than being a kind of, a boring finance company about numbers and money, it was actually as finance being the kind of key to all those experiences to people.
And Kongju Restaurant added a mix of both the traditional and modern. The restaurant combines traditional Korean ingredients with modern techniques for a whole new taste.
It's a kind of traditional cuisine, but we knew revisiting it. And they did a very special thing, which is to put some pork rinds and some seafood in the middle.
Just like this dish, the experts say it's about naturally converging the traditional and modern, as the past very much influences the present.
Whatever we are today, the past is superimposed on our present, even though we may like to believe that we are undergoing a revolution in the present.
Korean actor Park Jung-hoon agrees. As a Korean representative of the forum, he said there should not be a distinction between the old and new.
I don't think we can forcefully preserve traditional culture. I think when we naturally and creatively produce culture, it connects with the past. The modern doesn't block the traditional, but it's an extension of the past.
The amazing thing about Seoul and Korea is that mix of modern and traditional. I mean, if you walk down the street, you see like temples from very ancient time, and you also see someone like playing modern music or dancing. I'm really amazed by what I saw.
Well, if you don't know that gentleman, Jair Oliveira is actually a famous Brazilian jazz singer and composer, and he actually performed last night to mark the end of the forum.
Yeah, that I didn't know. But I mean, we are viewed as a country with a well-balanced mix of modernity and traditional, or at least by Mr. Oliveira.
Right. And so for many of the experts, it was actually their first time in Korea. And they said from the food to the architecture and even in corporate culture, they saw a lot of mixed elements of traditional and contemporary. So they saw a nice blend of those two in regular life in Korea.
So this year's forum was its fourth installment. So was there anything unique or different from the past gatherings?
Well, so the forum, known as CCF for short, is still relatively young, only in its fourth year. But every year it aims to create an opportunity for cross-cultural communication with all these experts invited. Right. And it creates a place to raise awareness on Korean culture. And now this year, the organizers say that there was greater interest from global experts to attend because Korea has now become more well-known, even if we just compare back to just 3 years ago. And Ms. Choi Jung-hwa, the president of CICI, which organizes the event, she says she hopes that the forum will soon one day join the ranks of the world's famous forums like the Davos World Economic Forum in Switzerland and TED in the coming years.
Ambitious plans, and we definitely do wish the best of luck for them. And thank you, Connie, for your report today.
You're welcome.
See you next week. And now we are saying hello to autumn, perfect season for camping, and our young went outdoors, ate a piece of paper, and claims it was a part of some cool camping gears. Let's see if his claims are true.
Camping has become very popular in Korea, and over the past few years, it's been gaining popularity. Up to 1,000 camping resorts here in Korea with over 3 million campers enjoying the art of camping. And I'm joining Angela here at one of these camping resorts to talk more. Angela Park, good morning.
Good morning. It's really nice to start off our day in the great outdoors. And when it comes to camping, like Young said, it is growing immensely in popularity. And so in accordance with that, we're seeing the outdoor equipment industry grow as well. In fact, 4 billion won of an industry. So we have some products from that's making some waves here in Korea.
Okay, so we have the first item that's standing right behind us.
Yes.
That's going to make our camping jobs a lot easier.
Well, let's go ahead and take a closer look.
All right, Angela, it was quick and easy, but it is a trailer. I mean, it's obvious that you're going to have to search for camping grounds that offer trailer parking, but my question is, do you need a special license to haul this trailer around?
In Korea, the law states that you need a special license to operate vehicles that are heavier than 750 kilograms. Now, this kind of looks like it would be heavy, especially now that it's folded out. It's very wide and big, right? But it's only 560 kilograms. So to answer your question, no, you do not need a special license to operate.
Well, let's look at the door here. I just opened it right now. The aluminum, it's rather light.
Right, and that's what contributes to the light frame. It's made out of unibody aluminum panels. Not to mention, it's wind resistant, rain resistant. There's a special extra coating that helps to prevent corrosion as well. So it's very durable and very high quality.
Okay.
If you take a look inside, the canvas is very high quality canvas. It'll protect you from the harshness of the great outdoors. So to be honest, it's kind of like cheating camping.
It is luxury camping, that's what you could call it. All right, the canvas is all good, everything is good, but what about during winters?
That's a really good question. Now, during the winter and the fall months, the benefit of using this Arcadia is that it comes with a heating system. Now, the thing is, it heats up not only the air, but it heats up the floors as well, which is perfect because we're going to be sleeping on the floors in our sleeping bag, right?
So it uses that good old ondor technology, right?
That Koreans are so well known for, right?
Okay, sounds good. It looks like they paid attention to a lot of different details using real plywood for some of the furnishings there.
So we have our place to stay in camping, but what else is important about camping?
Well, what you eat.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and check out our next product.
Sounds good.
So we are here. Now, food is very important about camping, but obviously we don't have our stove, we don't have, and you know, making fires can be a little bit dangerous or cumbersome. So we have a self-heating or basically a cupel kind of a system where you can cook your foods very easily in this plastic bag.
Okay, tell us how this works.
I'm going to show you how it works.
Show me how it works.
That's probably better. So we all are very familiar with ramyeon, right? Instant noodles. I'm going to take out the supplies. Now it comes with this little plastic bag. Do you want to open this for me? Put it in this bag. And then you put in water up until the point of the line. You see how there's a line drawn right here, right? That's where you pour the water up until. So as you pour it in, I can't really see there.
Okay, so we're gonna put this in here?
Yes.
All right.
Can you hold this for me really quickly? This is the heating agent actually. So you rip it open and you see a little packet inside. You put this packet inside at the bottom so that it can heat it up, right? And then you see this other line right here. I'm gonna pour water into here until it reaches that line. There we go.
Okay, whoa. Okay, so do I have to let some air out or something?
No, because we're gonna zip it up nice and tight to keep the heat in there. So if our viewers can see, you can kind of see it shaking, right? It's boiling right now. Don't you see the steam kind of escaping here?
Yeah, it's very hot.
Amazing, no?
Okay, so what happens with this? This is where all the magic happens. If
This reacts with water. Let me put a little bit more for good measure. And if you added water to it, it actually can heat up to 300 degrees Celsius. So you can see right now that just by mixing water, the calcium oxide is reacting and it's bubbling. It's boiling pretty much inside. So this is what is responsible for our noodles cooking in there, except the difference is we actually have food with the noodles.
Okay, so a real quick way to prepare your food, and you can even use it during emergency situations.
Right. The great thing is, though, you would think that one-time use and then you have to throw it away, but you can use it up to 3 times. It's very eco-friendly as well.
You can use it up to 3 times. That's great. Reusable. That's the word for it.
Yes.
Okay, you know, I've had my eye on this last one here over here. It's a book. It's a notepad, it looks like.
It is a book, and it's called the Eat book, right? And if you look through it, there's survival tips for you. Let me show you a little something that you may think I'm a little bit weird about, but if I can get one. It's edible paper is
Are you
what
turning into a goat?
No.
So this is edible paper.
It is. So this is like a last resort thing. Okay, I'm looking, I'm trying to survive, but this can sustain you as well. It's made with what's called icing sheets, and the problem with icing sheets is that normally it's kind of like pizza dough. It's very hard to find a way for it to maintain its structure, especially in this form. But they've improved it where it can come in the form of paper, and of course the color here is food coloring. It's all safe for consumption.
Well, so perfect. If our viewers can see, you can see that
It's like cookie paper.
tips here, and the paper does feel rather strange, right?
Try it.
All right, so I guess get your survival tip, and then once you get hungry, you can just go ahead and tear out a little piece. And
It's sweet. Tastes like cookie.
I'm not sure what kind of cookies you've been eating. It's not the best thing. It doesn't taste like the best thing. In fact, it feels very strange eating it, but
It's like
if
doughy
you're
a
in a
little bit.
situation where you do have to eat, I guess this survival book might be for you. All right, so this is the perfect thing if you are ever out in the wild and you can't survive unless you have to eat this paper. So have that around with the tips. So we've looked at some camping products. I think the last 2 products were more on the survival field, right?
And the first one's a little bit more luxurious camping feel, I guess.
All right. So your guide to luxurious camping. Thank you, Angela, for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Actually, thank you, Angela, for having me here.
That's true, that's true. And now I will serve you lunch or
Okay.
breakfast or brunch.
It's been cooking. Let's see how far it's
So what was it like, a sugarless cookie?
I wouldn't recommend it. I don't think our chef Andreas Krompel or Matthew Chung will say that it's a gourmet dish.
I would not say that either.
Emergency situations there. All right, now over from camping with your family, I'm pretty sure that you've noticed that there's a lot of people with kids who opt, well actually in the past, I think it's safe to say that many parents, Korean families wanted sons, and that was the big thing in Asian tradition as well. But now there are more opting for daughters, and this has even led to a new term being formed.
That's right. The coveted adjective these days to describe fathers is 딸바보, 딸 literally meaning a daughter, and 바보, a fool. So combined, you're talking about dads who would bend over backwards to put a smile on their daughters' faces. So let's take a look at, right, you're looking at one right now. So let's look at the fathers who would gladly call themselves a fool over their daughters.
딸바보.
This is 4-year-old Cheun, her special talent, winning her father's heart over with her magic charm.
엄마, 이거는 아저씨.
아저씨가 우와.
Her father, Chang Jong-soo, cannot help but melt over his daughter's every move. So this is what his wife calls him.
딸바보. 굳이 말하지 않아도 알고.
딸바보 is a new term that refers to Korean fathers who are especially loving towards their daughters. In 2010, fans of actor Won Bin first started calling him a 딸바보 after seeing how he took great care of his child actress co-star in the movie A Man from Nowhere. Since then, 딸바보 has become somewhat of a compliment for celebrities. They consider their daughters the apple of their eyes. Likewise, for Chang Jong-soo, he would do anything for Cheun. What do these daughters mean to 딸바보 fathers?
My daughter is, I can't describe it in words. She's just my everything.
Chang captures his daughter's every move on camera. In fact, he is well known for being a child care enthusiast and writes a baby journal on his blog every day.
Ever since Cheon was born on his birthday too, he keeps record of her daily meals, interesting things that happened, sleep schedules, and even what mood she was in. Everything about his daughter is updated on his blog. He has never missed a single day since she was born.
I don't know how old Cheon is in months. I write a baby journal so I know it by days. Cheon is 1,400 days old today.
Witnessing Chang, who says he finds meaning and joy from watching his daughter grow over the past 1,400 days, you can't help but wonder, were Korean fathers always so crazy about their daughters? Koreans have traditionally had a preference for sons. Unlike daughters, sons were highly valued because they continued to live in the same house and provide for their parents even after they get married. As so, when a son was born, it was customary to show that off. But that is in the past, and this preference is viewed as outdated by many.
바랬는데 딸이에요. 딸 낳았으면 좋겠어요.
딸이 좋을 것 같습니다.
According to a recent survey, there is an overwhelming preference for daughters among couples.
They're cute, even when they get fussy.
Daughters make their parents happy. I think it's more fun to raise a girl.
Daughters are more considerate towards their parents, and sons are out of the door once they get married.
The number one reason is the fun and joy that bringing up a daughter brings, and also the expectations of caretaking of the parents traditionally considered the son's role have now shifted.
The main reason for preferring sons was due to the traditional caretaking roles sons have for their elderly parents. However, in modern society, the value of family succession and caretaking obligations have weakened, so parents feel that raising a son is more difficult without extra benefits. On the other hand, daughters continue to reach out to their parents after marriage and maintain a close relationship.
Shift in perception is reflected in the gender ratio. The disproportionate male to female ratio of 115 during the 90s averaged out to 105.7 last year. So then why are dalbabos fathers instead of mothers? We found the answer for that in another dalbabo father, Kim Seok-jung, who has a 9-month-old cutie pie, Borin. Kim always personally makes baby food for Borin. He not only knows Borin's favorite menu, he feeds her like a pro. In fact, when it comes to childcare, Kim can be more passionate at times than his wife. Kim is a mentor to the group of 100 fathers who is organized by the Ministry of Health and Welfare. He shares his childcare knowledge with the other fathers. As you can see here, Korea is seeing an increasing number of doting fathers actively involved in childcare. The authoritative and strict Korean father figures are slowly changing. Today's Korean dads are becoming more like Kim Seok-jung, fully expressing their love and being immensely proud to be called a fool for their daughters.
I am and will continue to live as a dalbabo at least until my daughter Borin gets married.
Even in the old days, fathers preferred daughters, but the authoritative and dignified role as the head of the household discouraged fathers from expressing their emotions, but now they've started to actively express their feelings. That's why fathers now accept the dalbabo title with pride and attentively engage in raising their children.
So you were discouraged from expressing your emotions young before Irene was born.
I think it's had a big change on me. As a father of a firstborn daughter myself, I think it's had a positive effect on me. It made me realize and be more sensitive to women's needs and also see other women as people who have a father that loves them just like the way I love my daughters. So it's brought a lot of changes.
Fathers that we saw in the report probably dread the day that they have to walk their daughters.
I don't even want to think about that. Why do you bring that up?
That's 28 years later. So, yeah, you're, I think, rest assured for now.
For 20 years, which flies by real quick.
I mean, if one person is to take credit for this trend, I think it might be Kim Yeon-na when she took the world by storm with her delicate moves, but that's just me.
All right, and that was your report, and we're going to get to sports with SJ.
And a good Wednesday morning to you all as the KBO went back in action on Tuesday night. Now the pennant race is as hot as ever as the Doosan Bears crushed the Hanwha Eagles 12-2 at Daejeon, with the Lotte Giants beating the Nexon Heroes in a big series here 5-4. So with that said, let's take a look at the LG Twins taking on the SK Wyverns in Seoul. Of course, shifting over to the game, we go over to the first inning of the game. Here's LG's captain Lee Byung-gyu, an RBI single to left field, brings home Lee Jin-young as the LG Twins take an early 1-0 lead. Next inning, Son Ju-in, this time an RBI double here, makes it 2-0 LG. Stays that way until the fifth inning of the game when Chejung hits one towards third. That's an infield single, and the score is now 2-1 LG Twins. Seventh inning, Kim Jae-hyun, he's going to come around to score on a wild pitch here, and we have a brand new ball game. Bottom of the inning here, though, Park Yong-taek an RBI single to left field, and the LG Twins take the lead back 3-2. Ninth inning, An Chi-yong at bat, a two-run single gives the SK Wyverns the lead as An Chi-yong, he's going to end up throwing out at second base. Now a close game all around, but the LG Twins held scoreless in the bottom of the ninth as SK comes back to take this game 4-3, your final score. And next up, the Samsung Lions taking on the Kia Tigers. First inning, Shin Jong-gil, an RBI single to right makes it 1-0 Kia Tigers. But we're not done yet. Two men on in the first inning. Lee Bom-ho at bat, and oh yeah, three-run shot to deep center field. 4-0 Kia Tigers after the first inning. Second inning, we have more from the Kia Tigers. This time, An Chi-hong, an RBI double to left field line, and Kia now takes the lead 5-0. Sixth inning, Samsung would get on board thanks to Chae Young-woo. A sac fly to left field scores Samsung's first run, and it's 5-1 Kia Tigers. Eighth inning, here's Chae Young-woo once again, an RBI single to left this time, and it's 5-2. Rally comes too late for the Samsung Lions, though, as the Kia Tigers upset the first-place Samsung Lions 5-2. And moving over to international football, where I reported earlier this week on the loan deal that would move Swansea City's Ki Sung-young over to Sunderland. Well, now it's official. Sunderland's official Twitter page congratulated Ki Sung-young on his loan deal, adding that he'll be wearing number 4 for Sunderland. While the 24-year-old midfielder had a huge impact with Swansea last season, not so much this season, leading to the loan deal. Now, Ki is expected to be the playmaker that Sunderland desperately needs this season. And over to basketball, where the second game of the round of 6 college basketball playoff took place last night here in the nation. Now, Hanyang University beat Konkuk University 76-70, with Korea University beating Sangmyeong University 77-64, as both schools now advance to the semifinals of the tournament. So with that said, that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day, and see you guys again for your sports needs.
All right, thank you very much, SJ, for the sports updates. And now we're going to head on over to Lee-Tami. Tami, over to you.
I'm back reporting live from the 2013 Seoul Sharing Agricultural and Marine Products Seoul Marketplace. It is starting today and will go on until September 8th. It is being held at a total of 3 places, the Seoul Plaza, Cheonggye Plaza, and Taepyeongno. And of the 3 right now, I am at Seoul Plaza. So there are a total of 130 cities and counties that have gathered to share with us the special agricultural and marine products. And there's a total of 250 goods that you can find here. Oh, just looking at all of this fresh produce really gets me going. And I actually brought my eco-friendly grocery bag with me, and I did some shopping earlier. And look at the size of this Korean pear. It is humongous, and it looks so juicy as well. So here, when you come to this whole marketplace, not only can you find all these goods, but you can find lots of cultural performances, concerts, and experience programs. This is your look at Seoul Plaza. I'm Lee-Tami, Korea Today.
And thank you, Tommy. From Seoul Plaza, we go to Peter Bint, who went to a festival in Seoul Plaza.
Oh, what a great segue that was. Yeah, not planned at all.
Tommy provided that for me.
Yeah, well, Seoul is a really enjoyable city, not just for the citizens, but also for visiting foreigners as well. You know, there's festivals and events taking place all the time, but just this past weekend, there were 6 districts in Seoul that held their summer festivals at the same time together. And I was there to experience all the fun and joy and rain as well. So let's take a closer look. The record-breaking heat has died down now, and as the cool breeze starts to blow, the last of the summer events are being held across Seoul.
Dancing on stage is hard, but I enjoy it very much.
The site for this festival is the Seoul Plaza, located in the heart of the capital. The Seoul Plaza attracts nearly 8 million people each year, and this is the 6th annual Seoul Open Night Festival, which is a culture and arts event held even at night. From the stage to the markets, citizens volunteered to take part in making and running the festival activities. All the performances are actually by amateurs and citizens of Seoul. It's unbelievable.
Oh, who wrote that? I like that.
It's not my handwriting, that's for sure. But yeah, these are all citizens of Seoul themselves.
I think they're very talented. It's nice to listen to the music.
It's very, very nice. This same event is held at 6 other locations in the city, and each district has a distinct program, all well received by the public. Hi guys, I'm at Seoul City Hall, as you can see, and this is part of the 2013 Seoul Open Night series of events taking place across the capital. And today you get to camp out here with your own tent. I've got my tent, I'm ready to sleep in the open, and it's starting to rain, so I better find my place real quick. Let's go. The Seoul Plaza has transformed into a tent community. It's an unforgettable way to spend the night in this metropolis. And to protect the grass there, the tents were weighed down with sandbags instead of pegs. And it was also impressive that no one actually did a barbecue there. That was not allowed. Now time for me to construct my humble abode.
Woo! That's cheap.
That was easy. No, that's okay.
Lazy.
This way. I'm gonna make my way inside, take my shoes off, it's career after all.
It's quite big.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, room for at least 2. Perfect. Room for 1. Only 200 teams were chosen to participate, but over 1,000 teams
Being able
sent in
to set up
applications.
tents and camp out in central Seoul with your family and friends is an interesting experience.
No friends?
Unfortunately, so I want to say. And last but not
That's
least,
chicken delivery.
you can get it delivered to your tent. Oh, that is so good. It may be raining, but I'm still going to fill my belly while I'm here. So what do you guys think about this scene in Seoul Plaza full of tents?
It's cool.
Uncommon, for
Yeah,
sure.
Uncommon, definitely.
And the kids loved it too. There were so many families. That was quite unbelievable. So what do you think about this kind of festival in Seoul, the center of Seoul?
It's kind of awesome festival here, and it's a once-a-year festival, so we was really look forward to come here. And
Have you been here before, then, a previous year?
Yeah, last year actually, but it's a raining day, that's why it's so special today.
Enjoying a night of culture and art is a perfect way to recover from fatigue from the record-breaking heat this summer. It's a healing festival which allows the public to get involved and interact in different districts, becoming part of the culture. Foreigners are also welcome to come and enjoy all the various events happening all around Seoul.
The cool. Autumn season is filled with festivals and events like this one, right?
Yeah,
so tell us
right.
about more.
Yeah, in autumn it's jam-packed with festivals and events because the weather is pretty great in autumn in Korea. It's a little bit short, but there's one this weekend taking place in the most popular destinations in Seoul, Myeongdong and Pukchon. So in Myeongdong, you can dance the night away and listen to music from night till dawn. And in Pukchon, a little more cultural, I guess, they've got some traditional music going on in galleries and hanoks. Then on September the 15th and 16th, you can go to the Nanji Hangang Park in Mapogu. There's Korean rock bands and indie bands. It's a great way to see some quality performances.
What about festivals other than music festivals?
Well, there is one festival going on at the moment in the Hongik University area. It does involve a bit of music, but it's also got indie dance and art that you can see until September the 14th. And then there's lots of other festivals going on, like the Changdeok Palace Moonlight Tour on the 22nd and 23rd. That's especially for foreigners, actually, to show them the palace.
During the Chuseok season.
Yeah, I think
right?
that's when the full moon is as well. It's quite amazing. And then on the 27th and the 29th, after that, there's cultural festivals held in Cheongno-gu and Namsan. So in Cheongno, you can enjoy the food and the culture of the Joseon dynasty. And at Namsan, there's a walking tour as well. And for more information, you can visit the Seoul tourism website. That's visitseoul.net. They've got all the festivals listed there.
All right, sounds great. Great way to recuperate from the summer's heat, right?
Yes,
Thank
recovery
you so
time.
much
Thank you.
for that report. All right, that brings us to the end of this edition of Korea Today.
All right, it is Wednesday, right in the middle of the week. Enjoy the rest of Wednesday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.